The U.S. Navy has finally acknowledged that videos appearing to show UFOs flying through the air are real. They don't call them UFOs, they call them unidentified aerial phenomena.
That's not LNS though, is it? It's not. That is LNS, dude. Well, if there's like anything, it's rotated.
Certain secrets are so closely guarded by military authorities that they'd go to great lengths to keep them hidden. Despite their efforts, a few have been captured by cameras, revealing forbidden images that defy belief. Here are 20 leaked military photos that were never intended for public eyes. Number 20. X-37 space plane. This instance underscores how certain highly secretive military operations can unexpectedly come to light. The X-37 space plane represents a pinnacle in U.S. aerospace experimentation over the decades, shrouded in secrecy. Designed for autonomous space travel, it recently completed a 2-year orbit before touching down at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. Despite its classified nature, the plane has surfaced online, sparking intrigue. Reportedly, only 2 of these craft exist, boasting impressive dimensions, 29 feet in length with a 15-feet wingspan. The purpose of this enigmatic plane remains elusive, prompting speculation about its role as a reconnaissance craft or perhaps a pioneering form of space technology. While the truth remains veiled, time holds the promise of revelation. Number 19. Russia's S-300 failure. Despite the allure of military weapon testing, the testing grounds often witness failures that should remain unseen. Such was the case with the failure of Russia's S-300 missile in 2015. It's worth noting that Russia's S-300 is renowned for its reliability, having been utilized by numerous countries since the late 1970s. However, the recorded failure of Russia's S-300 missile launch in 2015 casts doubt on its previously perceived infallibility. The recording depicts a smooth launch process initially, but soon the S-300 encounters a malfunction, struggling and ultimately failing to ascend. Even when it does manage to launch, it quickly crashes back to the ground, emitting debris in the process. The cameraman wisely distorts the recording to ensure safety, seeking cover during the crash. Upon reviewing the footage, the evident danger portrayed by the thick cloud of smoke reinforces the necessity of keeping such failures concealed. Don't you agree? Number 18. Navy UFO. While the U.S. Navy generally maintains transparency in its operations, there exist certain photos it wishes to keep under wraps. Take, for instance, a peculiar photograph captured aboard a USS submarine during the 1970s. Despite the era's tendency to publish most photos in magazines, this particular image remained concealed due to its unusual content. Taken during preparations for a potential war with Russia, the photo unveils an enigmatic object hovering above the ocean, its shape shifting before vanishing beneath the waves. Kept classified for nearly 3 decades, the leaked images triggered a flurry of speculation. While some dubbed it a UFO, others speculated it could be a military prototype undergoing testing. The most intriguing theory posited the object as an alien spacecraft scouting for resources like oil. Though none of these conjectures have been substantiated, the secrecy surrounding the photos, marked with descriptors like "official photograph not to be released," underscores their unintended exposure. Number 17. Iranian missile launch failure. In a catastrophic event during 2019, a startling photo, initially intended to remain confidential, found its way into the public domain. Ironically, the incident captured was no clandestine affair, but rather the aftermath of a failed Iranian missile launch. The magnitude of the disaster was so immense that it resulted in a massive explosion, obliterating the entire facility. However, given the strained relations between the Iranian government and the international community, sympathy for Iran was scarce. Instead, the internet was flooded with mockery, including from the then President of the United States, Donald Trump. Trump took to social media to gleefully share satellite surveillance images, intending to deride the Iranian misfortune. Yet, his actions drew sharp criticism from top military officials in the U.S. Military experts pointed out a critical flaw in the images. Their sharpness and clarity inadvertently revealed sensitive information about the satellite used for surveillance. This revelation posed a significant security risk, potentially aiding adversaries in identifying and neutralizing the satellite. Subsequent analysis by an astronomer identified the satellite as USA 224, a formidable surveillance asset equipped with a 5-meter-wide optical mirror. Positioned approximately 200 miles above the site, the satellite possessed the capability to capture images with remarkable detail, detecting objects less than 10 centimeters wide. Commercial satellites typically adhere to stricter resolution standards, making the capabilities of USA 224 exceptionally rare. Despite attempts by the military to modify the images, Trump's inadvertent disclosure rendered their efforts futile. Number 16. The Gulags of North Korea. A dark aspect of North Korea was recently exposed to the world through content that was clearly never meant to be seen. Released by a former correctional officer, the photos reveal the horrors of North Korean prison camps, also known as gulags. Previously, many people doubted the existence of these gulags, especially since leader Kim Jong-un denied them. However, these newly leaked photos not only confirm the existence of the prison camps, but also expose the atrocities within them. The images show electric fences, cramped buildings, massive walls, and watchtowers, all designed by Kim Jong-un. According to the source, the prison camp is a place where hundreds of thousands of lives have been taken through brutal torture methods. One such method is pigeon torture, where victims' hands are tied behind their backs, preventing them from sitting or standing straight for days. By the time they are released, their bodies are permanently disfigured. The severity of these camps has led many to compare them to Nazi concentration camps, highlighting the gravity of the situation. What do you think about the existence of these prison camps? Number 15. Abu Ghraib. Horror continues with leaked photos from Abu Ghraib prison in Baghdad, revealing heart-rending scenes from the period of Saddam Hussein's reign. In the pictures, U.S. military personnel are depicted abusing Iraqi prisoners in the worst possible ways. The prison conditions were already horrific, with over 50,000 women and children cramped into it. However, the photos revealed even worse. In some of the images, GIs can be seen intimidating the prisoners and forcing them to stand in awkward positions, among many other tortures. When these photos were leaked, they caused a global outcry. The Pentagon later revealed that 35 investigations had been conducted in the prison and that 25 people had died from the torture inflicted by thoughtless soldiers. The prison was closed in 2014, but before that, the culpable soldiers were eventually brought to justice. Some were sent to Abu Ghraib prison, while others faced military court or were transferred back to the US. So much for being evil. Number 14. Pine Gap. The US is clearly a powerhouse state that has it all figured out when it comes to keeping enemies at bay. Concerning this, it's easy to deduce that they may have intelligence facilities that are relatively unknown. Among these facilities, Pine Gap stands out as a part of the US Army. This facility is a surveillance base located just 11 miles southwest of the Australian town of Alice Springs. It is essential for aiding the US in monitoring the Asian continent. Now, this is where things get interesting. The US government has been quite diligent in keeping the base private and ensuring that no pictures of it get out. The reason for this is the fear that photos of the base might help clever enemy states figure out how the base operates, and this is something the US government doesn't want. However, with a recent photo of the base released online, it seems they haven't done everything right after all. So, the question is, how did the pictures manage to leak? While we cannot say for sure what went wrong, it is clear that the proximity of a TV station to the site and the ability for people to get close to it didn't help. In any case, the leak raises concerns about the security measures in place at Pine Gap. Number 13. Killer Team. These leaked photos take us back to 2010 and 2011, when Rolling Stone magazine revealed a grim side of the US military. The images show U.S. soldiers posing with dead bodies, which they likely killed while following protocols in Afghanistan. The disturbing part is that these victims were actually civilians. Rolling Stone published about 50 of these shocking photos, causing public outrage. This led to investigations into the military personnel's conduct, compelling the U.S. government to apologize to the public and promise to prosecute those involved in the disturbing photographs. Number 12. Women of the Israeli Defense Force. A few years ago, the Israeli Defense Force began facing challenges with its female soldiers due to some deliberately leaked photos. These images, taken by the soldiers themselves, show them wearing tiny clothes or bikinis while flaunting their weapons. These photos were eventually posted on an Instagram account created for that purpose. The military was displeased with the photos and announced that they were handling the situation and taking disciplinary action. The Israeli government has also been working to remove the images from online platforms. However, some rebellious female soldiers continue to post, raising concerns that others might follow suit. Given that all Israeli women must serve in the military for at least 2 years starting at age 18, this is a significant issue. While some people criticize these photos, others are more accepting, viewing them as young women having fun despite being in the military. Number 11. Russian Cadet School. Russia's strength is well known, but recently leaked photos from a Russian cadet school provide a deeper insight. Captured in Stavropol at the General Yov Cadet School, these images show children as young as preteens being trained in military tactics and weaponry. Some pictures depict children learning to shoot and clean rifles, as well as being trained in other self-defense techniques. Interestingly, this military training is conducted alongside regular academic subjects like math and English. The leaked photos also reveal the lifestyle of these students, who live like military campers or boarders with bunk beds, strict routines, schedules, and intensive training. Today, the Russian Cadet School is highly successful, enrolling over 600 boys and girls during the summer and over 1,500 students throughout the year. These are at least some leaked photos that are more acceptable to see.
The Twitter account Discover and Know posted this photograph claiming to show how Chinese soldiers keep their posture by placing a pin or a needle in their uniform collar with the point facing their neck.
Number 10. U.S. tank accident. Every nation's military desires to appear impressive in front of cameras. However, aside from propaganda purposes, they sometimes encounter unforeseen mishaps during testing or training. These incidents, which they would prefer to keep out of the public eye, are occasionally captured and exposed, like the photo depicting a tank training mishap where 2 M1 Abrams tanks collided embarrassingly. In the image, soldiers are seen standing around in bewilderment or embarrassment as they await assistance. The involved trucks are substantial, each weighing approximately 260 tons. While witnessing colossal tanks collide may be intriguing, it remains a matter that the U.S. government likely prefers to handle privately. Number 9. Pins and needles. While in their uniforms, standing or marching, soldiers may seem proficient in their body posture most of the time. Ever wondered how they achieve this? Whether they're seasoned or new recruits, one might assume it's through practice. However, a recent photograph from China suggests otherwise. Take a closer look. What's noticeable? Pins. Yes, and these aren't random occurrences. These pins serve as control measures to ensure new recruits maintain proper posture. Examining their placement, it's evident that any deviation from correct posture would result in significant consequences. The soldiers understand this well, which undoubtedly motivates them to maintain proper form. Number 8. Trooping the color. Ceremonial events where high-ranking leaders are present are expected to proceed flawlessly. However, this isn't always the case, as exemplified by a photo from 1970 depicting Queen Elizabeth II during the Trooping the Color ceremony. The most captivating moment captured in the photo occurred as the Queen rode past the soldiers on horseback. Suddenly, one of the soldiers standing on the side collapsed in full view of everyone. The reason for this incident remains unknown, adding to the intrigue of the moment frozen in the photo. Despite the unexpected event, both the soldiers and the Queen maintained their composure. The Queen, unable to assist the fallen soldier, continued with the ceremony. This incident raises questions about why a soldier would collapse in such a public setting. Was it due to prolonged exposure to the sun in a hot and uncomfortable uniform, or was the soldier unwell? While the photo provides a glimpse of the event, the true cause remains elusive. Number 7. The Crimean War. When you think of wars, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Whether you can conjure up thoughts or not, you'll likely agree that war is chaotic. It's not expected for anyone to be holding a camera amidst the chaos, right? However, modern warfare is different. It's documented through the lens of cameras, preserving the leading role of photos, particularly those depicting the Crimean War in all its brutality. The photographers who ventured into the midst of war were courageous enough to capture the events. Interestingly, these photographs marked the significant beginning of modern wartime photography. Number 6. Sacrificial Soldier. Given soldiers' training, problem-solving in tough situations is ingrained in them. Hence, it's no surprise that this is the theme of the following photo. It portrays a soldier offering himself as a platform for a fellow sniper in the absence of one. Though the reason behind taking the photos remains unclear, the involved parties don't appear to be enjoying themselves, as evident from the bewildered expression on the bending soldier's face. However, considering the potential tension of the situation, it's understandable. Nonetheless, the photo has sparked significant attention across the internet. Number 5. Jong-un-Kim Army. Familiar with North Korea, you'd know its extreme privacy extends even to photos, with severe consequences for those who dare take them. So it was quite a sensation when a tourist shared snapshots of Kim Jong-un's army online. Among these leaked images were several amusing scenes, like soldiers sleeping by the road and women practicing in heels. Yet, the situation took a more serious turn. One photo revealed 18 soldiers squeezed into a vehicle designed for 8, highlighting the country's outdated military equipment. The tourist also noted that none of the soldiers appeared combat-ready, raising concerns about North Korea's military preparedness. This prompts the question, shouldn't North Korea prioritize peace to protect these innocent soldiers from the horrors of war? Number 4. Tank Biathlon. The Tank Biathlon competition, an annual event organized by the Russian government, is always captivating, akin to the Olympics. Typically, various countries partake, employing Russia's Soviet T-72. However, in one instance, the Chinese opted for their own tank. The outcome yielded an awkward photo, embedding a sense of embarrassment that lingers. In the captured image, the chosen Chinese tank is depicted in disarray as one of its tires unexpectedly bursts. The repercussions extend beyond mere mechanical damage. It tarnishes the reputation of the tank, identified as the new model, the Chinese Type 96B. This incident reflects poorly on the quality of Chinese weaponry. Evidently, this photo was intended to remain concealed, given its potential to diminish the perceived competence of Chinese military equipment. Number 3. Belarus military training. Recently, leaked photos of the Belarus military have surfaced online, revealing aspects of their operations typically kept private. This revelation occurred when a new recruit named Max decided to document the scene with his camera. The images depict the harsh living conditions endured by Belarusian soldiers. Alongside rigorous training, they are subjected to inadequate facilities, including poor bathrooms and a lack of hot water. Consequently, soldiers are forced to bathe in cold water, as illustrated by the photos showing them flipping buckets over their heads. These glimpses into the Belarusian military underscore the stark realities faced by soldiers, highlighting that the challenges they encounter vary greatly. Number 2. Syrian rebels. The subsequent leaked photographs serve as disappointing evidence for something vehemently denied. Captured last year, These images depict members of the US and British Special Forces collaborating and inspecting weapons alongside Syrian opposition fighters in a notably amicable manner. However, their interaction wasn't confined to mere collaboration. They were also socializing. The publication of these images carried significant weight, confirming suspicions regarding the involvement of US and British Special Forces in training Syrian opposition fighters, despite the UK government's initial denials back in 2013. One might question the rationale behind the secrecy. It seems that the training aims to empower not only members of the new Syrian army, but also those engaged in combat against ISIS. The clandestine nature of this collaboration raises several pertinent questions about transparency and accountability in foreign military interventions. Critics argue that such covert operations undermine diplomatic efforts and exacerbate tensions in the region. Additionally, the revelation of these photographs underscores the challenges of maintaining secrecy in an era of widespread digital surveillance and leaks. Despite efforts to conceal these activities, they have now come to light, sparking debates about the ethical implications of supporting various factions in complex geopolitical conflicts. Furthermore, the disclosure of these images may have repercussions for international relations, particularly between the US, UK, and other involved parties. Questions may arise regarding the extent of government transparency and the accuracy of official statements regarding military engagements abroad. In essence, these leaked photographs provide a sobering glimpse into the complex web of alliances and interventions shaping the Syrian conflict, highlighting the blurred lines between covert operations and overt diplomacy in modern warfare. Number 1. Subterranean Sanctuary. The Burlington Bunker, also dubbed as the Central Government War Headquarters, emerged as an extensive underground facility constructed during the 1950s to serve as a covert refuge for the British government in the event of nuclear warfare. It remained shrouded in secrecy throughout the Cold War era, situated beneath RAF Coram in Wiltshire, England, sprawling across 35 acres and reaching depths of 120 feet or 37 m, capable of accommodating a population of up to 4,000 individuals. This self-sustaining complex boasted various amenities, including hospitals, offices, living quarters, cafeterias, kitchens, and even the second-largest phone exchange in Britain, designed to support its occupants for a minimum of 3 months. A sophisticated communication infrastructure was established, comprising a television studio for governmental broadcasts and a pneumatic tube system for internal messaging. With over 60 m of roads and interconnections to an existing tunnel network spanning over 18 miles, the bunker remained operational for over 3 decades until being declared surplus in 1991 following the collapse of the Berlin Wall. Despite its declassification in 2004, access to photographs of the underground enclave remains restricted, although proposals were entertained to repurpose the site as a vast wine cellar or server farm. Authorities remain keen on maintaining secrecy surrounding the facility, should it ever be required for future use. Regrettably, even such compelling reasons fail to prevent the leakage of bunker images. Your thoughts on these photographs are welcome in the comments section below. Also, don't forget to like the video and subscribe so that you don't miss any of our video.